I was watching or I was listening to this podcast from Annette 69, and what actually caught my attention was that I feel like a lot of different real estate agents don't really bring up to light, or at least it's not very communicated across a lot of the times, was that apparently her and her fiance or husband or boyfriend, they're currently they're currently in the process of looking for a new home to rent, right? So when they were looking for different homes, apparently they came across one that it almost seemed too good to be true, right? They finally, I think they had a big yard, a few rooms that they liked. They liked the location of the area, so on and so forth. They just seemed like they finally found the place where they were going to be moving into. Even I think her fiance or boyfriend mentioned that, you know what, he was already talking to family members saying that, oh, we're going to be doing this, we're going to be doing carne asadas. And so they were already getting the hopes up. I think at this moment, they were on the phone with the owner of the house. So the owner of the house, just a little background of this, he was supposed to, I don't think he never, so the owner of the house never met up with him. So the way that they actually looked into the house was that they called the owner, hey, we're here in front of the house. He gave them the code to the house. I think they have those locks that have a pin. You enter the pin, and they were doing the tour of the home by themselves, right? So that's the way that they got in. They were looking at the house. That's when the fiance was mentioning, you know what, they really like the house. They feel like they finally found the house that they wanted. And next thing you know, they start knocking on the door, and it turns out that it was another family, right? So I think Annette mentions, hey, you know what? There's other people here. I think they're trying to look at the house. So the owner tells him over the phone, don't open the door. This is your home now. Like, I want to make sure that you get this house. So just ignore them. You got it already. Sort of, they're like, okay, well, fine. We got it, right? Next thing you know, another family comes. They knock, and they were trying to come and see the home. And apparently, I think Annette mentions the same thing. Hey, there's another family coming to the house. Should let them in. And then apparently, I think Annette was on one side of the home while they were looking at it. They were still on the phone with the owner. And then the mom and who was Annette's mom was also there, like looking around the house. But she ended up opening the door for the other families. And they're like, oh, I'm here to look at the house. What are you guys doing here? And they're like, well, we're also looking at the house. And they're like, well, we're on the phone with the owner. And then she's like, well, I'm on the phone with the owner. So it ended up being pretty weird, right? But something that I wanted to mention also, at this point, the owner had already told Annette to send, you know what, we don't do any background checks. We don't do this and that. However, if you guys really want to get this house, just make sure you guys take care of my home. But I will need the deposit of so much money. I think I forgot the amount, but let's say I think it was 10,000, right, for the first month. I don't know the exact amount and number, so let's say 5,000, right? So for the first month's rent, the last month, and then the current monthly rent, something like that, or deposit. So the owner was being pretty persistent to like, hey, send me the money. But next thing you know, what ruined it is that Annette's mom opened the door to the family, to the other two families, and they were being told the same thing, that they had the house already because the owner that they were on the phone had promised them the home, and they were being asked to also send the money. So apparently there was 3 different owners for this house, and everybody was trying to, you know, get this house. So I'm going to play a little bit of the clip so you guys can get a little bit of more background, and that way you guys can hear it from her. But yeah, I think it's pretty crazy. And then I'll mention why I wanted to share this clip with you guys.
Answer the door, blah blah blah. And I was like, well, my mom are knocking and knocking, and we kind of just heard them kind of like, I don't know, they were just like talking a lot, going to the door to answer it because they kept knocking and knocking and knocking and knocking, and we kind of just heard them kind of like, I don't know, they were just like talking a lot. So my mom answered the door, and while she went to answer the door, I called the guy again and I was like, hey, there's more people here. And he was like, no, like I told you, don't answer the door, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, well, my mom already answered it because they keep knocking, you know, like, how are we not going to answer the door? And my mom answered the door and they were like, oh, we're here to visit, we're here to tour the home or whatever. And my mom was like, well, my daughter's already buying it, like, or she's already renting it out, like she's literally signing papers as we speak. And they were like, well, what do you mean? I'm on the phone with the owner right now. So one of the girls said that, and then the other girl said that she was on the phone with another fucking owner. So as I heard that there was commotion going on, I ended up going because I was like, okay, this kind of seems a little bit fucking weird. And I started to just kind of like click 2 and 2 together. And I was like, oh my gosh, what is going on? And my mom actually recorded some of this, so I'll be sure to add the footage.
Okay, they're saying if you can send the code to see if you're the owner so we can see.
Hello, can you hear me?
So right there, they're confronting all the families are meeting up, and everybody has.
I don't trust it.
Everybody has their phones out and everybody's talking to the different owners.
No one sent money.
That's a scam.
Listen, you know what?
But I tell the guy, I was like, hey, there's 2 other couples here and they're saying that they're talking to the owner of the home. And
okay, so I think you pretty much got the story, right? The reason why I wanted to share this is because, and hopefully it helps out somebody that's watching this episode, is because there's a lot of scams out there, and I haven't seen anybody else share this type of incidents that at times when people are renting or are looking for a home now, like I mentioned earlier, not only are you giving the first month's rent, the last month's rent, plus a deposit. And if all of these different families would have done that, it would have been 3 different families that would have gotten scammed, right? So hopefully you guys share this part of the video, or at least have knowledge now that these type of scams are happening, right? They post these different ads on different different social media platforms, and because they have access to the code for the PIN for people to come and watch or tour the home, a lot of people believe the person through the phone is the owner, but in reality, they're just trying to scam people. So I wanted to share this. That way, at least you guys have knowledge on what type of scams are happening out there.
Hoy Nomas podcast. Clips for full podcast link can be found on description below.
Hoy no más.